If there were peaceful protests on Saturday for the military parade, President Trump would allow that.
Of course the president supports peaceful protests. What a stupid question. Raquel.
It has been a little over a week since the Musk-Trump civil war blew up publicly, and now, unsurprisingly, Elon Musk is backtracking. He is apologizing. He is trying to make nice with Donald Trump again, and you would expect it's because he is so insecure and so reliant on his government contracts, but it's not just that. Apparently, because a new report from the Washington Post reveals the real reason why Elon is probably trying to get back in the good graces of Trump, and that is a new election crime bombshell that he was just hit with. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way. And supporting the work that we're doing here now. Before we can get into this new reporting from the Washington Post, I want to get a little context. And it starts with Elon's apology right here. Elon Musk says some of his social media posts about Trump went too far, days after the very public breakup of Donald Trump. And Elon Musk, the latter, appears to be doing damage control. I regret some of my posts about Donald Trump last week, Musk said on X, his social media platform, after a 3 a.m. Wednesday post said they went too far. Trump has been active on social media early Wednesday, but has not responded publicly to Musk. However, in a previous recorded podcast interview with the New York Post that aired on Wednesday morning, Trump said he had no hard feelings towards Musk. I don't blame him for anything, but I was a little disappointed, Trump said, adding that he had not thought too much about what him and Musk have done in a little while. When asked if he could forgive Musk, Trump said, "I guess I could, but that my sole function now is getting this country back to a level higher than it's ever been." So Elon Musk is trying to do damage control. Elon Musk is trying to backtrack on the statements that he made about Donald Trump. But unfortunately for both of them, we remember you saying Donald Trump was on the Epstein list. We remember all of the truthful things you said about his agenda, how it would be disastrous, how, as many Republican senators have pointed out, it would do irreparable damage for generations to come. But it's not just apparently Elon that's backtracking. And this is very important for the story. The White House seems to be as well. Just take a listen to two questions. Carolyn Levitt was asked about Elon Musk today.
Thank you, Caroline. About Elon Musk, he issued an apology this morning. Has the president accepted the apology, or does he think it's too little too late?
The president acknowledged the statement that Elon put out this morning, and he is appreciative of it, and we are continuing to focus on the business of the American people.
And has the administration started a review of Musk's government contracts, something that the president said he's considering?
What do you mean by that?
Has the administration started a review of the contracts that Musk and his companies currently have?
No efforts have been made on that front as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
So you would think that although the immediate response earlier last week from Caroline Levitt wasn't that aggressive towards Elon Musk, she wouldn't be this kind. Now, I don't want to give any credit to Caroline Levitt, but she's clearly trying to little bit off the gas, right? They're not going as hard at Elon. They're saying they're not going to review his contracts. They're not necessarily saying that Trump has accepted the apology, but there's a little bit of wiggle room there. Why is the administration changing? Why is the administration not going as hard at Elon? Well, it's not just Trump, because Scott Besson, who apparently allegedly recording and reporting is out on this, that got into a fight with Elon Musk, is also trying to deflect. And this is important before we get into the story.
Do you think that Doge under Mr. Musk did a good job?
I think that Doge under Mr. Musk has set in motion an ethos.
No, I understand the ethos, but under Mr. Musk, do you think they did a good job?
That I hope we can continue throughout the government.
But not the ethos of cutting people from the nuclear stockpile. That wasn't a good ethos, was it?
As I say at Treasury, we move deliberately and fix things.
Right, so they didn't move very deliberately, did they? They moved kind of scattershot.
The Congressman, I have the benefit of the Doge people who are full Treasury employees, who either I or
I understand that, and I
my
appreciate that. I want to ask you about Mr. Musk's overseeing of Doge.
But my senior staff interviewed these Doge people who are not Doge people, they are Treasury people, have been incredibly
And
adamant.
I believe you, Mr. Secretary. Do you think that Mr. Musk did a good job overseeing Doge? Because it's been reported that you said he was a fraud, that the whole thing was a fraud. Do you agree with that statement, or is that inappropriately reported?
Fake news.
Fake news, okay. So
the administration as a whole is clearly backtracking. Scott Bessing got in a fight with Elon Musk, and now he's like, he's okay? He did some good thing. I don't want to say too much. So why might this be? Well, it's because Donald Trump and Elon Musk, the two biggest corrupt criminals in the country, have found themselves implicated in some election crimes once again. And the Washington Post detailed all of that in a breaking report. Right here, lawsuit. Accuses Musk of bribing Wisconsin voters with cash prizes. A complaint says that Musk violated the state's election law in a brazen scheme to bribe Wisconsin citizens to vote during the state's high-stakes Supreme Court election. A Wisconsin nonprofit organization focused on fighting for fair elections has filed a legal complaint alleging that billionaire Elon Musk illegally bribed voters by giving out cash prizes this year, and his attempt to help conservatives take the control of the state's Supreme Court. The complaint provided to the Washington Post by lawyers representing the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign, and two Wisconsin voters claims that Musk is America PAC and a Musk-linked entity known as United States of America, Inc., violated the state's election law in a brazen scheme to bribe Wisconsin citizens to vote. A complaint stems from actions of the Tesla and state SpaceX CEO ahead of the Wisconsin Supreme Court election this spring, when he handed out million-dollar checks to Wisconsin voters, and when his Super Passee America PAC paid registered voters $100 each for signing petitions and providing their contact information. State law. The complaint notes bars offering or giving any amount of money over $1 to induce anyone to go to the polls vote for a particular reason, and the complaint also claims that actions violated the state's prohibition on odd authorized lottery eyes. The plaintiffs are asking the court to declare that the conduct broke state law and to bar Musk and the defendants from replicating such conduct in future Wisconsin elections. They're also asking the court to award damages to the extent supported by law. So 2 months after Elon Musk's attempt to buy, and he certainly failed to do so, the Wisconsin Supreme Court race, he is now being hit with another legal bombshell. And what is important here is that it is going after the central way that Elon Musk has tried to influence elections. Of course, he donated hundreds of millions of dollars to Donald Trump's ground game, trying to register voters. But as we discussed during the election season on this channel, it was a failed effort. It was a complete mess. Elon Musk had no idea who he was hiring. And many times the people wouldn't even complete their jobs. They would just log hours. It was a complete disaster and waste of money, but Elon's publicity schemes handing out million-dollar checks, at least in his mind, helped Donald Trump win the election. He even said so. Right here, Elon wrote, "Without me, Trump would have lost the election, Dems would control the House, and the Republicans would be 5,149 in the Senate." So Elon thinks he helped buy Donald Trump the election, and now he's freaking out as he's being hit with a lawsuit that would prevent him from doing the exact type of bribery that Elon expressly has said helped Donald Trump win last year. And so, of course, he is trying to reconcile, because probably Elon wants to get into buying elections again, because he needs to, for his government contracts, for his corrupt dealings, he wants to be able to be left unaccountable. And that's what this administration will always be about, making sure that billionaires can do whatever they want. And it's not just Elon. There's a lot of billionaires in this administration, including Linda McMahon, who was confronted and shredded by Greg Casar. And this clip right here.
Do you think, yes or no, that kids will do better off in school if they have health care and their food needs met? Yes or no?
We all do better, and children will do better in school if their health needs are met. I agree with that.
Good. And so I guess for those kids, which there's going to be hundreds of thousands or millions of kids that lose their health care, how is it okay that they're going to lose their health care so that billionaires and billionaire families, I'm not just even picking just on you, but billionaire families like your own, can get a tax break? What, if you don't even know how many millions of dollars it is you'd get, how is that worth it?
I'm not going to respond to your question.
I think the answer is because it's not worth it. It's not. If you got 3.2 billion or 5 billion or 10 billion dollars,
going off the premise that there's going to be health care that is going to be removed from these children, I'm not sure that is a correct premise. So
every single organization that's looked at this bill knows that millions of people will lose their health care. The latest estimate is at least 11 million people and families, because you wouldn't get the enormous savings that the Republican majority on this committee is looking for unless you kick those millions of people off of their health care. So how can we educate our kids if they don't have a roof over their heads, if they can't see a doctor, if they don't have food assistance?
No, I've not sat down and worked with my accountants on what tax. I can tell you most.
You have a general sense?
Well, I
is
can
it
tell you
millions
last
or
time
tens of millions?
taxes went through, I paid more.
And so you think that under this proposal, you will not, like the other billionaires, get millions or tens of millions of dollars in tax benefit?
I think this is kind of a ridiculous line of
No,
questioning.
it's not ridiculous, because here's what's important. The biggest bill being pushed by your administration for your average extremely wealthy person would give about a $4 million benefit. Your family's worth about $3.2 billion. So I imagine that you'd get millions of dollars in benefit from this tax bill. Does that make sense? Does that check out?
I don't know. I'd have to let you know.
Let's just
ask the member.
Chairman,
refers to education.
My question. I'll refer to that, Secretary. So, okay, look, there are families watching at home from my district that could lose their health care, and they want to know why their health care would get taken away, and what it's paying for is overwhelmingly tax cuts for the wealthiest people in the country. And so what would you spend the $4 million on that you would get a benefit of at least $4 million?
Let's get to your educational line of questioning.
What would those families
in this committee?
What would those families who lose their health care, who are watching, what would you spend the $4 million on that's worth more than their health care?
I'm not going to address the questions relative to me personally. I'm here as the Secretary of Education, and
okay. So as the Secretary of Education, then, as the Secretary of Education, do you think, yes or no, that kids will do better off in school if they have health care and their food needs met? Yes or no?
We all do better, and children will do better in school if their health needs are met. I agree with that.
Good. And so I guess for those kids, which there's going to be hundreds of thousands or millions of kids that lose their health care, how is it okay that they're going to lose their health care so that billionaires and billionaire families, I'm not just even picking just on you, but billionaire families like your own, can get a tax break? What, if you don't even know how many millions of dollars it is you'd get, how is that worth it?
I'm not going to respond to your question.
I think the answer is because it's not worth it. It's not. If you got 3.2 billion or 5 billion or 10 billion dollars,
going off the premise that there's going to be health care that is going to be removed from these children, I'm not sure that is a correct premise. So
every single organization that's looked at this bill knows that millions of people will lose their health care. The latest estimate is at least 11 million people and families, because you wouldn't get the enormous savings that the Republican majority on this committee is looking for unless you kick those millions of people off of their health care. So how can we educate our kids if they don't have a roof over their heads, if they can't see a doctor, if they don't have food assistance?
This administration will ultimately always be about serving the wealthy and well-connected, and that is how we have to frame every action that they take. We are certainly going to be doing so on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around at the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments, and until next time, I'll see you soon.